Godwin Obsaseki, who joins us. Thank you so much, Governor Obsaseki, for coming on tonight. Also, I have some guests who I'm going to be introducing in the course of the program. Let me perhaps begin with the governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obsaseki. You are the chief executive officer. We know that you have shown your interest in running in this election. But first and foremost, your duty, you are the one managing and spearheading the issue of coronavirus and how you are fighting it. And as the chief security officer of your state, do you think your state is ready for an election as slated by INEC?
Thank you very much, we are ready for elections this year, gubernatorial elections. Fortunately, it's going to be taking place on the 19th of September. And from the epidemiological survey we have done in Edo State, we believe that the first round of the epidemic will peak about the third week in June. And then subsequently, we hope that we don't have reoccurrences. And that way we should be able to manage the public health situation in our state before the elections on the 19th of September. But we've done quite a lot of things to ensure that we secure the health of our state. As you talked about, or you spoke about earlier when you were making the introductions, as of today, we have 336 cases. And it's significant to note that these cases, I mean, almost 50% of these cases were discovered in less than for the strategy is to ensure that we screen, test, and treat our citizens. I make it bold to say that we have perhaps one of the largest testing capacities in the state, in the country today. We have 3 testing centers in Edo. We have screened in excess of 300,000 of our citizens in the last 6 to 8 weeks. We have collected over 2,200 samples, and that is why we're seeing a very high number of reported cases. What is instructive about this epidemic is that from the first index case on March 23rd, it took us 60 days to get to our first 100 cases. But within 10 days, we moved from 100 cases to 200 cases. And within 7 days, we've moved from 200 cases to 300 cases. We expect to see such increases just up to our primaries. But the important thing about what we're doing is we are being transparent. We are being upfront with the challenge. And we are developing responses, isolation centers, treatment centers, to make sure we cope. But most importantly, we are emphasizing risk communication, talking to our people, ensuring that we communicate as best as we can, using town criers, using electronic media, using billboards to transmit the message of social distancing, the message that people should now accept responsibility for their health. We're proud to say that we're believe the first state to make using of face masks compulsory in our state.
Governor Obsaseki, sorry, if I may quickly butt in, a lot of people agree that governance and every aspect of our lives should continue, and we should find the best ways by which we can maneuver or get ourselves out of the way of coronavirus. But for Edo State, for example, health-wise, the policy INEC has put in place, first and foremost, has Edo State peaked? Have you gotten to that point in the curve that you think you have peaked in the cases that you're monitoring?
We know we have not peaked. We believe that we will peak about the 28th of June. That's what the model is telling us. And therefore, this is perhaps the most tenuous time in the curve, where we are seeing cases double now, almost every 7 to 10 days. And this is why we are taking extra measures, particularly in terms of risk communication, to ensure that we do the things we need to do to keep our people safe. Yes, Sheung, you are right. COVID-19 is here to stay. We've got to learn to live with it. And therefore, even after it peaks in Edo State, people will have to live with it. So what we are doing is to try and emphasize the message that yes, the population is young. You have a lot of young people who will have COVID-19 but will be asymptomatic. That is not the problem. The problem are those people who are vulnerable, those who have underlying medical conditions, who could have lived otherwise. But if we don't take care of them and they get infected, we may lose them.
Okay.